Hello YouTube, I'm Jack Clark, the Eagle Musketeer, coming to you with another video. How are you? So today I'm going to be talking to you about Pendulum Summoning. Now for those of you who don't know what Pendulum Summoning is going to be a new game mechanic, a new summoning mechanic that is going to be debuting in the brand new Yu-Gi-Oh! Television series that is going to be debuting after Yu-Gi-Oh! ZL concludes. This series is called Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. I've done a video on it previously, and many other YouTubers have done videos on them as well. As it stands, we don't have too much in the way of information with Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. However, we do know there's going to be a new summoning mechanic. I was hoping to God there was going to be a new summoning mechanic, but of course they have to try and top the previous series, so they're going to introduce a new way of summoning monsters. This is called the Pendulum Summon. We have no information at all. We have a little bit of information as to what a Pendulum Summon is. Of course, all kind of sources and information that I refer to in this video, there'll be links in the description down below, so you can go check that out for yourself. But all we know about Pendulum Summoning so far is from magazine inserts in Japanese magazines, where we have Yuya Sakaki, or whatever his name is, the new protagonist, alongside what is depicted as a white magician and a black magician. And we have, in terms of actual text, we have the Child of the Stars is a key word for this type of summoning. It requires 2 monsters. The white magician depicted next to Yuya is captioned with the magician that reads stars, and the black one is captioned with the magician that reads time. So we have no information really at all. However, I come to you with a theory, and I think actually I've thought of this theory for a little bit now, and I now have an idea as to what Pendulum Summoning could be. Now, I know we're working on nothing, but actually I think this could be a very credible idea, and if I was doing Pendulum Summoning, I would do it somewhere along the lines of this. So this is just a theory, and of course I would like to hear what you would think of my theory in the comments down below. So my theory is pendulums. Pendulums are of course an item that is it's a weighted item on a piece of string, and it will swing back and forth. Now, pendulums in the past have been used for various things. They have practical uses in science and all kinds of things, but they also have a mystical route where you could use it to scry. Scrying is it's a kind of fortune telling. So a pendulum has many different uses, be it mystical and scientific. So it's quite an odd. So I can't really tell you what the aesthetic of a pendulum summon may be, but it could be varied. Now, pendulum summoning as well also hints to something else. Now, pendulums, they swing from side to side. You know how kind of like a hypnotist will have like a little thing, they will swing back and forth to try and hypnotize them? That's a pendulum. And that is the key to my theory. Like, a pendulum swings from one state to the other. And as it stands, we have a picture of a white magician and a black magician. Now, as it stands, we could have a summoning mechanic that switches between 2 monsters. It requires 2 monsters, so it can literally just between 2 monsters. It says it requires 2 monsters, not that it requires 2 monsters to summon a pendulum monster, because it doesn't actually refer to it as a pendulum monster, it refers to a pendulum summon. So, pendulum summon requires 2 monsters. Those 2 monsters could be the pendulum summon itself. So, we have the white magician and the black magician, and depending on effects or conditions in battle or on the field, they could switch between the forms. So by the looks of aesthetically, we have the white magician with a kind of a weird spherical kind of disc star thing, and then we have the black magician with this really big blade. It looks like a really elongated dual disc. So one looks more offensive than the other. So what could be the case is that the black magician is a more offensive version, whilst the white magician is a more supportive role. So for example, like a pendulum swinging back and forth, during your turn it could be the black magician, a more offensive card, whilst on your opponent's turn, when it swings again, it could become the white magician, a more supportive defensive role to protect yourself. Which could be the case. I think actually that seems pretty damn likely. But other things we need to contend with is also, is it an extra deck mechanic? Now, the chances of it being an extra deck mechanic are pretty damn certain. I mean, I can't imagine it not being. However, as it stands, we have 15 card extra deck limit, and we are getting to the point where, like, okay, if you're going to give us any more cards to put in our 15 card extra deck, somebody's got to budge. Either you give us an increased limit, or, well, I don't like increased limits. I think actually the number is fine, but actually if you want to promote this summon, you need to make it easier for the people to use them. So actually, if they made it a main deck mechanic where it would swap between 2 forms, and maybe you needed to get 2 forms first and then place them together at the same time, or maybe when you play one form it summons the other one from the hand deck or graveyard and you can then switch between the 2. then that may be a good idea as well. It most likely will be an extra deck mechanic. It makes more sense that like you've got both of them in your extra deck. You pendulum summon one of them, and depending on the condition, you swap between the extra deck to the field. And that could be the case as well. I think that's probably the most likely of cases. This, of course, is just a theory, and that's pretty much it, guys. Of course, if you have any thoughts on my theory or any theories of your own, say so in the comments down below. And of course, any sources and any information that I refer to in this video will be in links in the description down below. But that's pretty much it. I'm Jack Clark, the Musketeer. More videos coming out too soon. But until then, goodbye.